we need to be taking care of ourselves.
Yeah.
Posts that we often put on social media, and it's got a phone battery that's just down to 1 bar. And we say that we would never let this happen to our phone. In fact, it would be panic stations if we were down to the red on our phone. But don't let it happen to you either. Don't let your battery go so low that you're flashing red.
Yeah, don't be Alicia the first 3 years of teaching I think it would happen around July. I would come down with laryngitis because I just pushed myself too hard. And then I certainly realised my voice didn't always have to be my tool. Welcome to Rainbow Skies for New Teachers, where we're all about bite-sized tips and simple strategies for bright and busy new teachers.
If you're in your first few years of your career and want to make the rollercoaster ride of teaching more fun, streamlined and stress-free, you're in the right place.
We're Ashley and Alicia, the dynamic duo from Rainbow Sky Creations, and we're excited to be your teacher mentors on the go. There are rainbows ahead, my friend.
And together, we're unstoppable. Let's get into today's episode.
Rainbow Sky Creations acknowledges the traditional owners of the land we have recorded this podcast on, the Dharawal and Whadjuk Noongar people. We pay our respects to their elders past and present and extend that respect to all Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander cultures.
This episode is brought to you by Transform Your First Years, your one-stop shop for everything to survive and thrive in your first year of teaching. Alicia, hello. Welcome back to Rainbow Skies for New Teachers.
It's always good to be back.
It sure is. We are in July, and this is the first year that my mum has retired. She's a teacher as well, everyone. And she came over last night and she said to me, can you believe that we are at the end of the school semester? So we're halfway through the school year, and I am not cranky, tired, and just feeling like I'm falling apart. She's been casual teaching, but she hasn't been in the classroom with her own class. And usually by the time, we get to the end of the term, we get to the holidays, especially mid-year after reports, teacher-parent interviews, all of the things, she is literally dead.
Just paint a picture for us. How many years has your mum been teaching?
Oh, like 40 years, a long, long time, probably actually longer than 40 years. So, this is true for anyone. This podcast episode, we're going to be talking about strategies to conquer that mid-year fatigue. She has been teaching a long time. She always burns the candle at both ends. And I feel like this advice would be good for her as well as someone who's in their first couple of years of teaching as well.
Now, if you're an early years teacher, you probably come across Linley Dodd books of Harry McClary. And now we just don't want you to be the Scarface Claw who is crotchety and cranky. So this is how you can help yourself when it comes to mid-year fatigue.
Yeah, it's so true, isn't it? When we're tired and we're burnt out, we're run down, we're just not the best version of ourselves. And I think that we need to make sure that we're looking after ourselves so that we can be a better version of ourselves, and for not only for ourselves, but for our students as well. I always find this as a mum as well. When I'm tired, when things aren't going right, and who gets the brunt of it? The kids.
Yeah, for sure. This is so true. And I think maybe, is there a reason why they're starting to bring in more 3-week breaks throughout schools? I know a lot of the independent schools do it. I actually think tapping 1 week off summer holidays and tagging it into the middle of July, I actually think it'd be beneficial for everyone. But that's probably a controversial topic here, because I found whenever I was teaching, I needed a good week to decompress. And then that second week, that thought of school was at the back of my mind. But if you've got 3 weeks, you can actually get a solid 2-week break, which is going to make you feel so much more refreshed, and everyone around you. It's just going to make the vibe better.
Now, to all of our overseas listeners, the Australian school year goes like this. We have our summer break over the Christmas New Year time, because that's when it's summer here in Australia. So we have 4 or 5 weeks off then, and then we work for 10 weeks generally and have a 2-week break, 10 weeks, 2 weeks, 10 weeks, 2 weeks. So it works like that. So there is 3 2-week breaks throughout the school year, and then 4 lots of 10 weeks that we do school for. Yeah. And I know that when we taught in Dubai, it was different. Sometimes we had like a couple of weeks, and then we'd have a break, and then we'd do this like crazy long stint.
Like we're talking 16-week stints. Like that is horrific.
it was the worst for these two little Aussie teachers because we could work to 10 weeks and just bring it and then we'd die. But when we're in Dubai, we just have to continue working through.
As a single young female, having 2 months off over summer was the most amazing thing ever. And pushing through was the light at the end of the tunnel. But now as a mum, if I had 2 months off with my kids, I love my kids. I love them. But I'm like, I actually feel like we're all ready to get back into a routine around 5 weeks in. That's just me though. I'm no expert on that. At the end of the day, we know it's mid-year, you're tired. Here, let us give you some little strategies you can try to make life a bit better for you.
Totally. And if you're listening to this and it's the beginning of the school year because you're in the Northern Hemisphere, then take some of these on for your year to come because they're going to be helpful for you. Okay, so we've got 5 strategies. Number 1, take it away, Alicia.
Look, reflect and celebrate the small wins. Take some time to look at the progress your students are making. Good gosh, to look at the progress you're making, you amazing, fabulous teacher, and celebrate those small wins and those positive impacts that you're having in the classroom. You could make this a daily thing. I'm probably leaning towards like a weekly thing where you could look at writing a little success journal. We actually, to make it a daily thing, this is what we do in our house is I do have 2 and 3-year-olds and my 2-year-old does participate in this discussion where we say, what are we grateful for? Or what really made us smile today? And I know I'm going to layer that on as I get older with what was really tricky today. But we just have a little share of things that we're grateful for. And I found that my list starts to get longer the more that we've done this. And when I'm having a tough day, it may be tricky for me to even find one thing, but I know there's one thing I can find. I know as an educator when I started, and probably right up until the end, I wasn't very good at this. And I think now I'm probably better at it. And I think I've learned from you, Ash, of just being like, this is a win. I'm celebrating it. We are doing something. Let's go down to the beach. Let's go get an ice cream. Let's just woohoo, high five each other for just being awesome humans who managed to accomplish something that was important to us.
Yeah, if you don't celebrate those small wins, like even if it's a teeny tiny little thing, if you don't celebrate that, it passes you by and it's so easy to focus on the hard things, the tough things, the things that aren't going so well. But just have a look at those tiny little accomplishments, no matter how small, a student's achievement. We got in the car yesterday to take my kids to school and I've got 2 kids that go to school and 1 4-year-old and the 4-year-old is just making life very, very difficult to go to school every single day. Like I'm telling you. I want to swear. I'm not going to, but I want to. Anyway, it's always a saga. It's always a performance. Yesterday, she got in the car. She was buckled up. And as I reversed out, I thought this was so easy. So we all gave her this like massive clap. And I was like, well done. And we gave her a clap. Her smile was huge. It led on to the rest of the day getting into the car to be much, much easier. And yes, it was the tiniest little success, but you know what? It was worth celebrating.
Yeah. And I used to do it with my class. At the end of most days, we'd sit down before we read our book or did a little pop quiz on random general knowledge. I'd go, what went well today? What went well? It could be something in the playground, something at music lesson, just anything they would come up with. And what you're saying there with your little one is that the power of even if you've got a teacher who comes into the class and your class have been little turds and you've got a teacher that comes in, if you just go, hey, Mrs. Smith, I just want to tell you, you have to see these year 3s. You have to see how amazing they've been. They've been listening. They've been participating. Probably not, but just say they are. And you're going to see their eyes light up because you're talking about them and you're celebrating them and they're hearing positive things. And I can guarantee your next few lessons or the rest of your day is going to go a lot smoother because they're like, did you hear our teacher? She was like pep talking us. She was singing our accolades. So
yeah, she's on our side. I actually went in and helped my mum when I was at uni for one day. And she said to her class, you guys are the best class in the school. And I know that she particularly loved this class. And I took that from her. And almost every class I taught since, when I had my own class, I'd tell them, you are the best class in the school. Let's make sure that we step up and show everybody why we are the best. And they would. And they loved that idea of being the class community and those positive vibes. They make such a difference.
Yeah. Now, there's something Ashley did every year as a teacher, and she found it recently last weekend to celebrate those wins and successes.
That was keeping a folder of special items. So, you get like special messages or drawings, cards from parents at the end of the year. It may even be like an email or a message from another colleague. I would collect all of those and put them in a folder. And my folder is like ratty. I found it. It was sitting in my garage. I've just put it into my studio so I can go through it and have a little look. But I put all of that in there because then that is a great place to go to look through and just remember that you are making a difference. Now, on the back of this, mine says special on it. I know other people call theirs why I teach, but I just met Aaron from Mr. J's Learning Space on Instagram at a party the other day. And I had just finished writing this blog post. And I said to him, what do you call this folder? It came up in conversation. I know, weird teachers talking about teacher stuff. And he calls his folder fan mail.
So good.
Which I absolutely love, and we're totally going to steal. So set yourself up a fan mail folder. If you've got a beautiful email, print it out. I've even got bits and pieces from parents in Dubai that wrote me amazing letters and cards at the end of the year, and I put them in there. And I did go back when I was teaching and read through them when I needed that little pep talk.
Yeah, for sure. I found mine recently in a little cleanup too. I know there's some at my mum's still. I know I shouldn't have things at my mum's and some at our house. I was going to say we did have this at our school. Lastly, on this topic, it was a beautiful school I worked at. Colleagues were just really encouraging. And we had 1 month where we were focusing on successes and wins. And the administration started printing off emails that were coming through to her about teachers. And she started sticking them up on the wall. And it kind of became like a fan mail wall in the staff room. And you would go and read, be like, oh my gosh, Mrs. Smith, did you see what they wrote about you? And you'd go and talk to those teachers and be like, did you see that? That's awesome. I'm so happy for you. I got goosebumps on my arms. It's just such a beautiful thing to say. And it just brings up the spirit and the vibe because look, life is hard. Everybody's going through tough things like illnesses, wars. There are terrible things going on and we can let that weigh us down. But these little messages like that can get us in the present moment of what is happening in our orbit and celebrate those things and lift us up a bit because it can be tough teaching day in, day out.
It really can. I love that idea so much.
Yes. I think of some schools that I go, might not have worked at because they needed some work with the collegiate element, but that school, it was perfect.
Yeah.
If you've got an amazing team of teachers, give it a go. Even if you've just got a pod of teachers and you start doing it in your own little mini kitchenette or whatever it might be, do it. Give it a go.
Yeah. The other thing just on this topic, and then let's move on to number 2, is that if you're getting emails that like say lovely things, if it's from your principal or colleague, parent, whatever, even your students, maybe keep a little email a folder in your emails. So you've got it there. Like you don't have to print it out, but it's nice to have it there. I know that we save some of those nice things that we get from Rainbow Sky. We often get DMs on Instagram or emails from people saying thank you or that we've made a difference in their lives. And we take screenshots of those and keep them just for that extra motivation.
Yeah, that's what the cloud's for, to save those things there.
Yeah, that's it. Okay, number 2 is all about reconnecting with your passion. So we all became teachers in the first place because we love the job. We love connecting with our students. And yes, it is so easy to forget that when you're in the daily grind of a school. Schools are busy places. Staff rooms can often be negative places, but we're going to really encourage you to think about why you became a teacher in the first place.
Yeah, why did you become a teacher in the first place? And I think sometimes I used to hit this really hard during busy times of the year because I got caught up in like getting the data done, assessing kids, writing down, contacting parents, back and forth. And then before you knew it, I was just a shell of my former self that felt like this administration person. And I was like, but why did I do teaching? Because I love the kids. I love the variety. I love seeing those light bulb moments go on. And for me, what would I do? I would pull back on the data and the assessments. And I'd be like, we're doing a project. We are doing a STEM project. And you've got the second half of today. We are going to be making catapults and these are the materials. You've got to work it out. You've got to work in teams. We're going to measure how far your catapult goes. And that's what we did from lunch onwards. Or maybe we did it after recess onwards. Sometimes when they came in, it would be like, shoes off. Everyone take your shoes off. we're having shoes off and we're going to be doing a bunch of different maths games because you guys love these, I love these, and I would actually get in there and play with them. Sometimes you just got to reset and find that thing that ignites you. Is it science lessons? Have a science lesson day. Just do science experiments all day. That's a lot of materials, but do it.
Is it a special event? I know the Olympics are coming up. Classes that I've taught have always loved getting immersed in the Olympics. I love that sort of thing as a teacher too. And I think,
Yeah.
yes, it is about what you love as a teacher and being able to connect with your students. So think about reconnecting with your passion. Think about maybe engaging in professional development on an area that you really love. In my first few years of teaching, I loved the creative arts, and my principal was amazing because anytime anything came up about that, he'd say, go to that professional development about creative arts. And I always came back with that fire inside me. I want to give this a go. I really, really love this. So that's another way. Look at professional development that you choose, that you really like. Think about fun, creative projects that you can get involved with your students, or even go online and see if you can find some inspirational teaching accounts on social media that can get that fire burning. We are interrupting this episode really quickly because I'm sitting here with Isabella from Street Smart Australia. Street Smart's simple mission is to take action against homelessness. Bella, tell us, what is the Schools for Change program?
Well, Schools for Change offers teachers free, ready-to-use classroom resources and activities that really help to introduce and explore these topics of homelessness and social change.
So tell us, why is it important to embed these conversations about homelessness in our schools and our classrooms?
Young people are often at the forefront of social change, and homelessness is such a tricky topic to talk about. So these resources are really great ways to be able to introduce and explore, what does homelessness mean? What does it look like in age-appropriate ways, and really based on empathy and compassion.
That's brilliant. It is one of those conversations that we don't really have very much in schools. That is very important because we are in the place and the power to create change in our society. And it really starts with our kids. So, Bella, can you tell us, how can teachers get on board with Street Smart Australia?
Absolutely. Teachers can get on board really easily. All you have to do is jump onto our website and download the resources. They're free, they're curriculum aligned, they come with lesson plans and tons of easy ways to spark conversations and empower your students to think about how they can create change in the world.
That's amazing. That would be great as a PDH lesson, or even those days where you have to fill in a little bit of a lesson here or there. They would be perfect, and they are all done for you. And teachers love anything that's time saving.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much for joining us today, Bella. Let's work together to empower school communities to help learn about homelessness. It's actually funny that we were talking about the holidays, and I always find that second week of the holidays, I'm itching to kind of get back into the classroom. I remember that I love teaching. I want to do those things with my students. And you know what that tells me is that the rest really, really helps.
Yeah, it does. I 100% agree.
So that leads into our next point, which is all about prioritizing self-care and well-being. I feel like at this point we're a broken record, Alicia, because we're always talking about this fact that we need to take care of ourselves. And self-care is really important to maintaining your energy and enthusiasm, and to be the best teacher you can possibly be, we need to be taking care of ourselves.
Yeah, we
post that we often put on social media, and it's got a phone battery that's just down to 1 bar. And we say that we would never let this happen to our phone. In fact, it would be panic stations if we were down to the red on our phone. But don't let it happen to you either. Don't let your battery go so low that you're flashing red.
Yeah, don't be Alicia the first 3 years of teaching, who would, I think it would happen around July. I would come down with laryngitis because I just pushed myself too hard. And then I certainly realized my voice didn't always have to be my tool.
Or my mum.
Yes.
She's been over 40 years and knows that by the time she gets to this point in the year, she's like basically dead. That's not a great way to be.
Don't be, I love it because I just keep getting the word cranky and crotchety. Like I just like, I feel like that was me, and like my kids will look at me and be like, yeah, you're a bit cranky. I'm like, I am.
So how can we do this though? How can we make sure that we're taking our well-being and our self-care as a priority? Well, I think the first thing we need to do is set boundaries. So if you're not good at providing clear boundaries between work and personal life, then this is your wake-up call to start doing that. Alicia is giving me like these hand signals. I'm going to send it over to you.
Oh, it's just that I feel this is so important. Coming from someone who was terrible at putting boundaries for myself personally,
Mm.
there is nothing wrong with saying, no, I can't do that. No extra explanation needed. Okay. There is this saying that I heard that boundaries are about looking after your joy, allowing the things to come in that bring you joy and just stopping those things that drain your energy and time and saying, that's not happening. Okay. Boundaries are a positive thing. Not only is that going to help with your well-being, just daily little practices, right? I knew that if I started the morning by eating a good meal, it would set me up on the day not to have a midday crash and be running to the staff room to raid the sugary, savory, salty treats that would just send me down a spiral. Like making sure that you're getting that sleep. I think nowadays, even if you are coffee drinkers, I wasn't back in the day. I didn't start drinking coffee until my mid-30s. But if you're starting teaching and you're like, I'm a coffee drinker, push it back a little bit. Maybe take your cup of coffee and go sit outside and get some sunlight. That's going to reset your circadian rhythm, ready to be able to rest and restore at the end of the day. So maybe it's just having that slowing down a little bit. You know what I mean? Maybe it is driving into school and going, do you know what? I'm going to put on my favorite tunes and I'm going to get myself into the zone and just get myself, music can transform your feelings the quickest. If you're feeling low, put music on. That's going to transform you the quickest. The same for your class. So it's just little things you do every day and you kind of go, oh, I'm not feeling my usual self. What have I let slide or come in the way of something that I know recharges me?
Yeah. And see what works for you. I know that there's lots of like talking about deep breath work and meditation. And for some people, that doesn't suit them. I was listening to a podcast the other day and I feel like, was it us interviewing somebody or was it one that I was listening to? I listen to a lot of podcasts, you guys. So this is why it sort of all gets smushed together. But the person was saying that 3 deep breaths is a really good place to start. So if you're not into breath work, anyone can do 3 deep breaths. And like we could do that with our class as well. And resetting yourself, if you're feeling like, oh, I'm a bit overwhelmed and you've just come in from recess and it's been hectic and there's been a fight and people are complaining and it's hot or it's cold or it's windy,
Just breathe.
stop everybody and just have 3 deep breaths. It's going to be beneficial for your kids. It's going to be beneficial for you. So that's an option too.
You need to listen to our episode 39 with Kaylee Lefko, and she is all about co-regulation, and it takes literally 5 minutes a day or just 5 minutes at the start of a lesson. Not even that, 1 minute with 3 deep breaths. And I know when I get really excited about things and my adrenal system kicks in and I'm enthusiastic, I'm excited, I start to run like a motor. And then I know I'm going to crash soon. And I would come home from school sometimes and just be like, to my family, and my mum would look at me and she'd be like, Alicia, breathe, take a breath. And I think sometimes when you finish your day at school, maybe you get in the car and you take a breath. I probably do that so much more now. And I see my kids doing it. I see my husband going, pretty good idea. Let's all take a breath. And it resets your nervous system, your vagal nerve system, your parasympathetic system. It just calms you down. Even when you don't think you're not calm, there's little signals that your body's telling you. So what we're just saying is look after you, and you can do it in really simple little ways.
Definitely. The next thing you can do to look after you and just to help re-stimulate that energy in your job is to seek out a support network that can help you. As teachers, we are often telling our members inside Transform Your First Years that teaching is all about teamwork. You're not sitting as a silo on your own. You need to work together. And sometimes our staff don't provide that support network that we need. And that's okay. Sometimes they do. You might be working at a school that Alicia was talking about earlier, where the staff really work together. It's like a family. Sometimes you feel like an outlier and you need to go and find that support network somewhere else. That's fine. No matter what situation you're in, it's important that you have a group of other people, mentors, other teachers, colleagues that can offer that support and guidance, that know what it's like to be a teacher. Because when you're talking to a teacher, you can say, this is a problem, and they understand. They have been there before. So go and find a mentor. It could be someone online like us, where we are mentors online to so many new teachers and we love supporting and helping them. It might might be the teacher next door. It may be somebody you did your prac with. It may be another teacher from another school that you have a relationship with. But find a mentor and then find a group, even if it's just one or two other teachers that you can just talk with and connect with and maybe solve problems if you need to solve problems.
Yeah, for sure. I definitely feel that every school I've worked at about 6 schools, and there's always someone I'm still in touch with now from those schools that I taught at. There's going to be someone in your social, local realm that you will connect with. And I think now there is such an amazing community online. You can find people that way and then connect with them in real life. I think you need that element of real life. And if you need to, that social online connection too that you can grab as well. But yeah, get people around you, get a cheer squad around you can celebrate your successes with.
Yeah, a teacher squad, a bit like Taylor's squad, but for teaching. So it's a bit cooler than Taylor's squad.
Yeah, the teach squad.
Yeah. Okay, number 5 is about utilizing resources. Now, this is specifically for new teachers. I know the tips that we've spoken about could be helpful for anyone, but if you are a new teacher, take advantage of resources and things that are out there to help you navigate those early years in the profession, because it's not easy. Alicia and I were just talking to a coach of ours the other day who's not a teacher, and we were trying to explain that when you're a teacher, you are expected in your first year to be able to do the exact same job and have the same outcomes as somebody who's been in the job for 50 years. And that's a big ask, and it's a big, big call. And we need to help and support each other in that. So if you're a new teacher, there's so many different things out there that can help you. We have got a freebie called Surviving Your First Years, which is perfect for this time of year. It offers practical tips, advice, strategies. It's even got a little printable in there to help you stay motivated. So we'll make sure that that's linked in the show notes. Grab a copy of that. That can really help you reignite that passion.
Yes, for sure. And that's why we created our membership for new teachers, Transform Your First Years. You can watch so many reels and read blog posts from so many different places, but we just wanted to make it that you could go to one hub and you could get those checklists, you could get those templates, you could tap into our masterclasses on parent communication or on your classroom setup, just really simplifying it so it's saving you time and energy and having you going out in that first or even when you're a couple of years in going, the wheels are falling off, I need some guidance. And we'll be just there to go, here, try this. We've tried it. We've tested it. Here's something that we think could work for you.
We don't teach anything that we haven't done ourselves. I mean, we've been in the teaching game for a long time now. And between the two of us, we've taught in different parts of Australia, overseas. So everything that we've put in those masterclasses, everything we teach inside Transform Your First Years are things that we have tested, tried, things that we know work, or sometimes we guide people and say, we found this doesn't work as well.
Yeah, that's it. And
there's
as
been
you know,
plenty of those times.
that's it. And we're lifelong learners and we're learning so much more about how the brain works and more research evidence base is coming out. We're growing together with this, but we're here to support you and hold your hand as tightly as you want us to.
Yeah, absolutely. Mid-year fatigue is such a common challenge for all teachers, new teachers, but also veteran teachers too. So we hope that these 5 tips have helped you just think about how you can conquer that fatigue, or how you can go into this new school year, if you're in the Northern Hemisphere listening to this, ready to go energized.
Here are your 5 things. Celebrate those small wins. Do it on a weekly basis. Try a daily basis. Reconnect with your passion. Why did you become a teacher? Do those lessons that you love. Prioritize your self-care and well-being. Number 4, build a support network. Get those people around you and then have a coffee date with them once a term. You'll love it. And lastly, utilize resources. Resources for new teachers, resources for teachers. And I think the main thing is listen to your body. And when you need rest, take the rest. If that means being in your PJs at 4 p.m. on a weekday, or if that means actually I need to give myself physical, mental, emotional rest and I need to take a mental health day, do it. You'll be better for it. The class will survive without you.
They sure will. We have linked Surviving Your First Years, our freebie, in the show notes. So go and grab that if you are a new teacher. And if you want to join us inside Transform Your First Years, the doors are open and we would absolutely love to have you.
Until next time, there are rainbows ahead, my friend.
And together we're unstoppable.